Hello guys, we're on the way to search the monster called Loch Ness, and here's a pretty lady that I have to apologize. And I was asking for where the toilet is, and see we have the same bag. I thought she's one of the crew. I do apologize.
I actually
That's because of the badge when it is what you call this sideways. It's like it's a bronze color. And what's your name, darling?
Lucy,
And where are you from?
Brazil.
Oh, Brazil!
Yeah.
We've been to Brazil. We've been to Loch Mountain.
To Carnival?
No, we went to Iguazu Falls.
Oh, wow.
Yes, we did helicopter ride.
I wanna go there.
Yeah.
No. Can you imagine?
We are here in the tour bus and we are heading to Loch Ness. Loch Ness is a highland part of Scotland. Loch Ness is popular not only because of the scenery but also because of the monster. The first sighting of this mysterious beast was in August 22, 564 by Saint Columba. Saint Columba was an Irish priest and later he became a saint. The latest sighting of this monster was in 1933. They named it as Loch Ness Monster because the first sighting was in Loch Ness. Some people believe that this monster is real and others believe that it's just a fairy tale. This is the first part of our tour. It is the ruins of the Urquhart
I'm
Castle.
sorry guys for disappointing you. They allocated us to a different coach, so we couldn't see any Loch Ness monster. So what we have only is behind me is the ruined castle. So I don't know if still we have the tour for this afternoon, and I'm really disappointed. I don't know where's the mistake here, why we got onto a different coach. So guys, no Loch Ness monster, sorry. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, travel buddies. I'm here in Urquhart Castle. Behind me is the Urquhart Castle, and it was owned by Campbell, and that was on 1800. Ayan, ang lola ninyo. Nagkamali ang tour. Hindi naman pala Loch Ness Monster, so nawala ang Loch Ness Monster. So ang titignan na lang namin is this ruined castle.
This castle is on the A82 road, 21 kilometers southwest of Inverness. Scotland as a whole is very pretty. They are rich in history and beautiful sceneries.
Wow, could you imagine long time ago, the castle overlooking the lake?
This castle is said to be over 1,000 years old and date back to the 13th century. Urquhart Castle was one of the Scotland's largest castles. Urquhart saw great conflict during its 500 years as a medieval fortress. Control of the castle passed back and forth between the Scots and English during the Wars of Independence. Urquhart Castle was garrisoned for the last time in 1689. The towering gatehouse was deliberately blown up so that the castle could never again be a military stronghold. Well, it's time to go, and this place could be explored approximately 2 hours. However, it depends upon your mobility situation. I'm really sorry again, guys, because of what I promised that we're going to tour to see the Loch Ness monster if we're lucky, but I doubt that there will be a Loch Ness monster that will appear. It would be a news of the world. So far so good. The tour was great and I enjoyed myself exploring the place. Well, we're heading back now to the ship, and tomorrow will be Belfast.
Yuha!
Sige, yan nga
It's always
yan.
easy.
Okay.
Abracadabra!
This big fish is a printed ceramic mosaic, a sculpture by John Kindness. It is said to be his interpretation of the Salmon of Knowledge, and each of the public artworks scales tells a story about the city.
Yan. Lahat ng corner definitely naman mo nag-versatile. Versatile ako kayo.
This is the Titanic Museum. Titanic Belfast is a visitor attraction opened in 2012. A monument to Belfast's maritime heritage on the site of the former Harland and Wolff shipyard in the city's Titanic Quarter where the RMS Titanic was built. The rail tracks that they used to move materials back and forth. This tells the story of the Titanic, which hit an iceberg and sank during her maiden voyage in 1912. This is the actual wreckage of the Titanic in the Atlantic Ocean. In 1911, Harland and Wolff launched 10 vessels, including the Titanic. It took only 62 seconds to launch the Titanic ship to the sea.
On a series of wooden blocks laid on the slipway. These were made of pitch pine and were stacked about 4 feet high with angled wedges on top. On these were laid the first steel plates. The plates were strengthened on the bottom by a flat slab keel bar which protected the bottom of the ship. On top of the steel plates, a 6-foot-high solid spine was laid, which ran the length of the ship and was known as the vertical keel. The vertical keel had a rigid rib of plates which ran along its spine. At the base was Titanic's double bottom. Here the hull was made up of 2 layers of steel plates, in some cases forming enclosed tanks and coal bunkers.
That's what we called her. We knew she'd be the largest passenger ship in the world, but we didn't call her Titanic then.
I was there from the beginning. I watched the shipwrights lay the keel blocks. They set big wooden blocks on the slipway to start with, then the keel atop of it, like a backbone, and the frames attached to that, like a skeleton. Then the keel atop of it, like a backbone, and the frames attached to that, like a skeleton.
Workshops everywhere. It took weeks to find your way around. There'd be workshops for every trade you ever heard of. Painters, sailmakers, coppersmiths, boiler makers, cabinet makers. I even learned a bit about French polishing of them.
Harlow is a fine place to work, but dangerous. Every ship cost a life, and there'd be lots of injuries besides.
I was in the engine works for a while. Very well equipped it was. That's where we built the triple expansion engines. 2 of them, each as high as a 3-story house.
I worked in the frame bending shop. You'd heat steel beams in the furnace, then hook them onto slabs of cast iron and hammer them curved. It was skilled work. You had to bend them more than you needed because the frame straightened out a little when it cooled.
The shell plates that made up the hull weighed up to 4.5 tons. They were taller than the da.
The plates were overlapped on the edges. Some were raised, one after another. We called it clincher. One of the foremen told me years ago that's how you build steel ships.
I worked as a heater boy. You had to heat the rivets on a wee plate. You pumped the bellows till the rivet was white hot. Then you get a hold of it with your tongs and throw it up to the catcher. And he put it in the hole in the plate for the holder up.
There were two of us on the other side of the plate with the holder up. We had to hammer the rivet so it filled the hole before it turned dull red.
The double bottom. That's a wee space we called the tanks, made up of steel plates. The rest of the rivet squad all had to fit into that gap.
One of the foremen would check each rivet with a special hammer. If it made a ringing sound, we'd have to go back and chase it out after work.
I'd get scared working down in that double bottom. You only had candles for light.
And the constant hammering against the shell plates. You could hear it all over Belfast. Some of those boys ended up stone deaf, so they did. We were paid 31 bob a week. The heater boy and catcher got 16 bob. But we all worked the same 54 hours.
The upper deck was steel too, and part of the strength of the ship. There's no straight lines in a ship, and when you look down the weather deck, you can see the shear of the hull, which stopped her reflection at sea.
The stern frame had to be strong enough to take the rudder turning in heavy seas. You'd have all these timbers and guy wires to steady the frame, and men scurrying around like ants underneath.
When we came to launch day, I was torn between pride and fear. The standing ways were coated in tallow, train oil and soft soap. So the ship would slide when they shifted her weight off the blocks. That was the most dangerous part. When the shipwrights were knocking away the last props, they were under compression, you see, and the sliding ways would be released by the hydraulic trigger.
100,000 people watched the launch. Some paid a bob to sit in the reserved seating. There were extra trams laid on. Then we all went off to the pub to wish her well.
Doc, you were proud.
This was the dry dock for ship maintenance, and now it's part of tourist attraction. The Titanic Hotel is just next to the Titanic Museum. It wasn't intended that the cones and my outfit will match. It was a lovely day, and tomorrow's next port of call is Edinburgh.
Ang lakas ng hangin! Yan! Behind me is the 4th Rail Bridge. Ayan. Mahangin! Ang lola nyo ang buhok! Ang buhok ng lola. Ayan, ang ginaw ang lola nyo. It's very windy. Morning! We're catching up the bus to go to Edinburgh. She said that's the best one, so I trust her. I'll get one scoop of that, yes. And what's the second best one, my dear?
Probably the sorbet or the butterscotch.
Okay.
This is the Scott Monument. It is a Victorian Gothic monument to Scottish author Walter Scott. It is the second largest monument to a writer in the world after the Jose Marti Monument in Havana.
What were you expecting? If you shake guys, I get nervous. If I get nervous, I pee. I finally got that chewing gum off my shoe. He's laughing, he doesn't know there's drugs.
Oh dear. We can't go in again this time. The last time it was our dog because dogs were not allowed. And this time all tickets are sold for the next 3 days.
I love Scotland. Very nice place. The architecture, inside and outside, it's very impressive. Oh, there's a car. Sorry. There you go. Ang lola, masasagasahan. Thank you. Ay, naku, ang lola.
We are now here inside the tour bus, heading back to the ship. And I can't wait to have a glass of gin and tonic waiting for me in the cabin.
No.
No, just joking. Delicious. Mamma mia. Salitan niya. Good. Okay. Para ka naman mangkukulam niya. You know this witchcraft? Sabi ko nga parang kitang ano. Wow, ganda naman. Wow. Yan. Pakit.